Happy Sabbath, my YouTube family. Remember to like my video and share my video. And for those who haven't subscribed to my channels, please do so. What are you waiting for? Okay, so I'm reading to you from St. Luke chapter 19, reading from verses 1 through 10. Alright, and the story is well known, but I'm going to explain something. And Jesus entered and passed through Jericho. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was chief among the publicans, and he was rich, and he sought to see Jesus, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was a little stature. And he ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him, and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must abide in thy house. And he made haste and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, saying, that he was gone, that he was gone to be guest with a man that is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man that from false accusation, I restore him fourfold. And Jesus said unto him, This day salvation come to this house, for as much as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that was lost. Amen. So Zacchaeus, as you know, was the tax collector, but he was unfair. He robbed the poor people them, like they must pay $1,000. He will take 15, or he will take $2,000 instead of the 1,000. So he always have money upon money. So he was a rich man, while other people who are paying the tax are very poor. So he was hated by most of the people in his community. So when the scribes and the Pharisees saw that Jesus was going to Zacchaeus' house to have meal with him, they were very angry, very upset, to say, how could he, Jesus, who said he is the Son of God, going to Zacchaeus' house? Because they placed Zacchaeus as the worst sinner ever. And Jesus said, all sin is the same sin. If you murder 10 persons and you steal something, are the same sin. But to them, because Zacchaeus now was the tax collector and robbing people, he was an outcast. He was a dreadful sinner. And they know, the scribes and the Pharisees didn't see themselves that they set rules for others to follow. But at the same time, the rules that they set wasn't for them. They don't obey the rules that they set for others to follow. So the poorer class of people, they look down on them. So because Jesus came to set the example for them back then to follow, they hated him, right? Because he is for the right and the truth, but they wasn't for it. So when Jesus saw things that they preach about and say should never happen, they not abiding by what they said, but yet they want others. And Jesus pointed out all of that to them, so they hated Jesus. So they was upset to know that if Jesus said he's God's son, why they doing a Zacchaeus house, and Zacchaeus is a chief sinner? Why they doing a house? So they start murmuring, to themselves. And that is what is still happening right here now in our time. You will see a millionaire go and look for a poor person, or and they say, why they doing that poor somebody house? Them way there? As if because you're poor is like you commit a terrible crime because you're poor. So people look down on you for no reason, So that's why Jesus come to show that though the person is poor, they are still human being. He can still dine with them. He can still reason with them. So you see, when Jesus went to Zacchaeus' house for the meal, to have a talk with him and so on, you see what happened? Zacchaeus didn't make Jesus say, Zacchaeus, you're robbing the people, them, you need to give them back some money. He have a conscience, and his conscience tell him that he should give back what he have taken away from the poor people them. And he said to Jesus, whatsoever I've taken from them a false accusation, I will give it back to them. So we rob him passing on back the money to them, because what? He fell in love with Jesus. He see that Jesus is a righteous man, and Jesus is not a pretender. He's truth. He's a man of God's own heart. So without Jesus telling him what to do, he was telling Jesus what he's going to do, and Jesus was happy to know, because Jesus know our heart, he know everything we mind, he know what we're thinking before we even think. So when he wanted to meet Zacchaeus, he know exactly who he was, that the moment Zacchaeus placed his eyes on him, Zacchaeus was going to be an honest man and give what he have, give back to the poor that he have robbed from them. So we could see ourselves sometimes, not to judge others, but to do the things that is right and pleasing in the sight of God. Happy Sabbath to you all. Hope you understand, and you can read the passage for yourself. Everybody know about Zacchaeus, the wee little man, short little man. They even make song of him. That tax collector who always rob the poor people. But thanks be to God, he make a man of himself and give back those who have robbed. And I know that he did the right thing and he saved. Blessings to everyone. Peace out. Love you guys.